Hey guys, long day, as usual. Still suffering from heat over here, and I just got home. My beautiful wife is out getting her hair done. I was just thinking I wanted to make a quick video because I had a segment that I had recorded. I didn't have any real time to get too involved while I was working on the thing, but I got a segment that I wanted to show you guys. Some of you may already know this, some don't, whatever. It's always good to share, right? Anyway, nothing too crazy, but interesting, okay? So what happened was, we had a 2007 IS250 come into the shop for an ABS problem, code. The light is on, traction control, all that stuff, right? Steering, power steering, all that sort of nice stuff, illuminating the dashboard. So this is a used car lot, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this. Not sure if I'm going to do it in this video or not, but it's kind of a long story to the whole thing, and I don't want to bore everybody to death. But again, I thought I would share. So at the end of the video, I'm going to show the segment on what I did with this car. It's very short. Again, just a quick test on the ABS sensors to verify that the sensors themselves are good with the scope, and out of the vehicle, just plugged in, and I'll show you that. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about not so much about the car, but about the situation, right? Car's a used car from an auction. They buy the cars, they do whatever they have to do to them, inspect them to the best of their ability, I guess, go over whatever the repairs they need and stuff, try to get them up to par, and then they put them up for sale on the lot. So this vehicle, they did some stuff on, they couldn't figure out what was wrong with the ABS, and it came to us. So when I got it, we found something that was kind of weird. This car uses a bias voltage on the ABS sensors, okay, the wheel sensors. That's not the weird part. The weird part is I had a left and a right, let me try that again. I had a right side rear wheel sensor that was not functioning, okay. On the scan tool, I had nothing. It was zero all the time. The other three sensors all read correctly. They were all matching, and I only had a code for the right rear. So at that point, I did a visual inspection, which I always do, obviously, first. And I noticed something right off the bat that I didn't like. I noticed the wiring was tampered with to the rear sensors on the left side and on the right side. So I kind of, wow, why is that, right? What's that about? Well, I found the wire tied into those wires, jumping the left side to the right side for the bias voltage. Not sure what they were trying to accomplish. This vehicle did not lose the bias voltage. The circuit, the wiring integrity was fine to the rear wheels. There was no issue there. So what they were trying to accomplish by doing that has just got me boggled. I have no clue. Okay, I don't know what they were thinking, what they were doing. It's quite apparent that they had no idea how to check this car or what they were looking for. So I cut that wire out right off the bat. And I started doing my circuit testing, and found that I had bias voltage there on both wires to the rear sensor, both rear sensors. I believe, don't quote me on this because I don't remember, but I think it was like 10 volts, something like that. What I had done is I plugged in the sensor. The new sensor, the new wheel sensor. These things were quite expensive as well. I plugged in the sensor for the right rear, and with a scope, I just wanted to see whether or not I can actually see a signal if I run a piece of metal across, right? Just to hold it in your hand with an air gap and just kind of run the screwdriver back and forth. I wanted to see if it reads anything that way. It does. It shows a signal. So, okay, I have activity. This is not going to tell you if the sensor is good per se, right? If you have an issue other than is it capable of reading. But if it's open internally or whatever, or whatever the case is, this will show that it's not reading on the scope. I don't know how much of this I went into in detail. I don't think much on the video because it was very short, but like I said, I was pressed for time with this car and with other stuff that I had in the shop. I didn't have time to really get too involved explaining what happened. What I noticed was I did ohm these sensors out. I forget the spec. Again, I'm sorry. I don't remember what the spec was. And if you don't know a spec on a wheel sensor, normally you can ohm one out, ohm another one out, and you can see, do they match? You know what I mean? You kind of got an idea if you have sensors that are working and you ohm them. You know, is the resistance correct? Whatever it was, and I have no clue at this point. I don't remember what they were. The both right and left matched. All right, so they were not open. They were not open in that sense. They were, you know, internally they weren't open. So I had no signal anyway, right? So what I did was I took the left rear sensor out of the vehicle, and now I'm thinking tone ring, which is internal on this design. You can't really see anything, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I pulled the sensor out and immediately noticed that the sensor, even though it came out very easily, was bent, which I really haven't ever seen before. Thought that was strange, and I said, well, let me just see something. I went to put the new sensor into the hole there, and the new sensor would not bottom out. There was a gap this far before, you know, it wouldn't go down into its correct spot. So, you know, deciding against using a BFH to make it fit. Some of you guys know what that stands for. I decided not to go that route because a $300 or $400 sensor, you know, being banged in to place is not the right way to do it. So I inspected everything inside with a bore scope, and I noticed that there was damage to the spindle itself and everything surrounding it. And as strange as it was, I didn't notice any damage externally. Like, I couldn't see anything bent, but this car was hit in the back. I did see some repair work in other areas, and the only thing I could think of is whatever got tweaked in there in the aluminum, something got tweaked and it damaged that sensor location. So at that point, I just wanted to do some testing for myself and see. I took the sensor that ohmed good, the failed sensor that ohmed good, I took it out. I wanted to see, is it the sensor, or is it the tone ring itself, why it's not reading, or is it just because it's bent? I wasn't sure. So I took my screwdriver and hooked up the sensor to the harness in the car, and I ran the screwdriver across. This part you're going to see in the video, and you'll see there's no activity. It's just flatlined. So then I took my known good sensor, my new one, plugged it in, and I tried it again, and I had activity. So even though it ohmed good, the sensor failed for whatever reason. Well, obviously because of the wreck, I'm assuming. So that was that, right? The funny thing was that the owner fixed it himself. I just did the diagnostic work here, so I explained to him you need a new spindle and hub assembly, and the new sensor's already here, so you could just put that in. And you're going to have to change the wiring harness, which does unplug. You know, it plugs into the vehicle harness and then plugs into the sensor. So there's this sub harness that you can change on these. So he needed both sides. He got everything used from a scrap yard that he deals with, and you know, normally gets decent parts for the cars. So he got everything from there and put it in. And yes, everything worked. It did fix the vehicle, just so you know. So our diagnosis was spot on. But the thing that I was getting at was that. You know, I thought it was pretty cool that you could check this this sensor, ohm it out, and verify that the resistance value, which I hate those tests personally. I don't like resistance checks on anything. Yes, if you have an open injector, if you have an open sensor, it's fantastic because you ohm it out and it's broken. Okay, so you know that it's broken. If you want to ohm a wire out to find it, you know, make sure you're on the right location, you know, on a pin of a PCM or whatever you're working on, and you're not sure because there's 10 wires that are the same color and you can't get a pin out, or whatever the problem might be, you're working on something you can't get diagrams for or pin outs, then you don't know. So, you know, that's a good way to check to see you're on the right wire. So it has its place in my world, at least. But you know, these charts that they give you, these trouble charts that you'll get from Mitchell or All Data or what have you, everything on those freaking charts is resistance checks. I'm not comfortable with resistance checks, especially, like, I mean, there's times when they give you a resistance check, you should be using an oscilloscope on this thing and checking it, or you could be checking it with scan data or what have you, and they tell you to check the resistance from this wire to this wire on this pin or whatever. You know, it would take you, what, you know, 40 minutes to get to the component you had to check. So, I mean, it's stupidity. A lot of that stuff, whoever writes those charts really needs to go back to hands-on school and figure out how to do it the right way, but I digress, right? Anyway, I just thought this was pretty neat all around, because it showed a little bit of everything. It showed a whole new level of stupidity when you got to somebody jumping the wiring across the ABS system, and then it showed you know, physical damage to a sensor, yet it ohmed good. I don't show that. I'm sorry I don't show that on the video. Again, I was just busy. But you had if you just took a resistance check on the sensor, if that was your test, well, it ohms good. It actually matched exactly to the left side, which worked. So you would stop right there and say, well, it's not the sensor. And you would go and, I don't know, whatever you would do from there, but you would definitely be going down the wrong path because you had a broken sensor regardless. So if there was no physical damage, say, where the sensor sat, and there was nothing, you know, nothing was bent, and I could put the new sensor in, that would have fixed the vehicle. You know what I mean? It would have been done. But that wasn't the case. So whatever. I just thought it was cool. It had a little bit of everything for a very short video, which I'm making it extremely long by my rambling on. But this is real world stuff, right? This is the stuff we see in the field. Maybe some of you guys are lucky enough not to see this because they don't tamper with their vehicles where you live. Where I live, it's a whole different story. And I'm going to go into more detail. I just don't think I'm going to do it on this video for the sake of keeping it short. But I want to talk more about this used car lot that I deal with. I like the guy. It's nothing personal. But I want to tell you about a lesson he learned the hard way. And I've been warning him. With that, Lexus was one. Stop letting guys that don't know work on it. The same gentleman sent me the M45X. I warned him at that point, don't stop letting guys tamper with these cars because they're going to blow something, they're going to do something bad, they're going to damage something, and they don't have the knowledge or the training working on these vehicles to do these kind of diagnostics. They don't even have the right scan tools. Now, you know, having the right tools and not having the correct training is bad. Not having the scan tools and not having the correct training is worse. You know, I mean, it's I don't know. It's bad either way. So I'm going to tell you about how he got burned, and it wasn't pretty. And hopefully I'm hoping, like, you know, I don't know. I've been hearing this thing going around where we never lose. We only learn. That's a crock. Sorry to tell you, because he lost on that. But you know, I'm going to get into that in another video. I think I'll just sit here and, you know, and ramble on about it. So just check out the video segment coming up here on the Lexus, and leave your comments, thoughts, your ramblings below. I'll be happy to read them and respond if I get a chance, which I probably will. I'm not that popular at this point that I can't keep up, so I like to interact with you guys if I can, and I appreciate the support and the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I could use the support, believe me. And we're trying to, you know, do the best we can here. I'm exhausted. I worked on a I was helping the guys next door at the trucking company today to diagnose an AC problem on a I don't even remember if it was a Peterbilt or a Kenworth. I don't even know. I think it was a Peterbilt. Anyway, got that thing diagnosed, and tomorrow we'll see what the repair comes out like and how we make out, and maybe one day when I have some time I'll do some video of that. I don't know if you guys are interested in seeing that stuff, but I'm not a truck mechanic by any stretch. Just use some common sense and my, you know, knowledge to feel my way around and figure things out, right? So it's pretty cool. Maybe I'll get some of that stuff on video one day if you guys are interested. So either way, again, I want to thank you guys for subbing. Please stay tuned. We're going to try to keep up on pumping out videos for you, but I'd like to put out quality over quantity, so I don't know how much quality I have to begin with, but trying. See you guys soon. Thanks. Lexus IS250 with an ABS problem, intermittently reading and not reading rear sensors on this thing. So I came to the back before I did anything, and I peeked through the wheel, which I'm going to show you. I don't know if you can see back there where the light is shining. If you could see that wire it's tampered with. Pull the wheel off the other side. This is the one that's actually not reading at all. And they jumped to the left to the right. I mean, you talk about new levels of stupidity. Here it is. So I'm going to take this crap out of here, and I'm going to see if the wheel sensor works. and I'm gonna go from there. But this is a whole new level of geniuses. Every day, you never know what's coming through the door. Here's what I got. See how I can do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, because this car, like I explained, is a mess. I'm going to just show you what I'm talking about here. Here's the sensor that we're going to change, along with the hub that's damaged. The sensor's bent because there's damage inside the hub for some reason or another. Here's the new sensor. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and plug it in, and I'm going to basically hold this just like this, and I'm going to run my screwdriver over my fingers as a guide with a little air gap, and we're going to look to see if the scope does anything. Okay, you guys watch that. This seems to be a pretty decent way to check these things, actually. Like I said, this does use a bias voltage. You know, I'm going across it here. I can't show you both at the same time. I don't have enough slack, but we have nothing. Now, I'm going to take my new sensor and plug it in, do the same thing, and let's see if we have something. And as you can see, we are reading here. Let me give you a better view. So as I go across faster and faster, you can see there's something happening. There's activity. There's a signal. So I don't know if this helps anyone. Just a quick tip for these sensors on this Lexus. Hope it helps you. Thanks, guys.